This storm will kill you.
Look! I'm telling you! You know what I mean,
But if
folks?
rich people aren't looking out for us, who is?
It makes no difference which one of us you vote for. Either way, your planet is doomed.
You're listening to the Our Take Podcast with Brian Sherman.
He had a full head, all the way till the end. It was white, and I was hoping to get that. I was hoping to get, like, the full head, and it was really hard to cut it off.
And Spencer Rogers.
To be a good pilot, you have to be able to make good decisions, and I know what my credit score is, so I know I don't make good decisions.
This is the Our Take Podcast.
From Scary Parrot Media Studios in Ogden, Utah, it's the Our Take Podcast, episode 104. I'm Brian.
I'm Spencer.
Today on the show, we're going to be talking about Parler, the Capitol siege, Mike Lee, vaccines, Trump's phone call.
All sorts of fun stuff. We've had a busy week. We have lots to talk about.
Yes.
It's going to be off the hook.
The chain.
Or terrible. I don't know.
It might suck. It is January 9th. On this day in history, very fitting, in fact, in 1861, the first shots of the American Civil War were fired.
Oh, well, that's encouraging.
Yeah, the steamer Star of the West was fired upon by the Confederates as it attempted to enter Charleston Harbor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
All started in the sea.
Huh.
Yeah.
So it was started by seamen.
Yeah. In 1431, on this day in history, the trial against Joan of Arc begins.
Joan of Arcadia?
Just Arc.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
She was executed in 1431 and exonerated in 1456 after she was dead.
Well, it's always good to get exonerated after you're dead. That's the best time to do it.
Little known fact.
Yeah.
DNA evidence exonerated her.
What did she do? I thought she was a witch or something.
I don't know.
Wait, yeah, how did it... Wait. I'm going to have to look into that because I didn't know that she was actually...
A peasant girl living in medieval France believed that God had chosen her to lead France to victory in its long-running war with England.
Yeah, so she was delusional. Is that why they killed her?
Yeah.
Oh.
But she was later canonized as a Catholic saint, which means she did 3 miracles after she was dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that seems unlikely, but I'm in.
Yeah.
Works for me.
I'm good with it. I think we should saint more people.
Really?
Sure, why not?
Like who? Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Well, he has to die first. That's one of the requirements.
Oh, well,
you have to be dead.
Let's get on that.
I don't know who the last saint. Maybe Mother Teresa? Last saint?
No, there's been one since then. I know there has. I don't know who, though. Listen, look, listen. You have a child, right?
I do. And
yeah,
we'll announce it right here.
Really?
Ashley's pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right here.
A lot of people might not know.
I mean, I knew. I've known longer than most people, I mean.
Yeah. And it's a boy.
Actually, I've known longer. I knew.
That's true. So, Spencer, I put Spencer on my App Store family plan.
Because we had an app for the podcast that I needed to download.
And in doing so, gave him access to our family calendar, which on it had the plan to remove Ashley's IUD.
I didn't go look for it, okay? It popped up like as a reminder.
No,
it was like,
searched.
Hey, Ashley's getting her IUD
IUD
removed. Like, oh.
I know what you did.
Okay.
You went in the calendar, you searched IUD, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, baby boy due in July.
Baby boy, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Ruh-roh.
How did you know? You already know that?
Yeah, we did. So there's like a blood test to check for birth defects and other things, Down syndrome, such. And within that test, they can now do a DNA test for $100. I think they send it to Ancestry. I don't know. But they can tell you the gender now, or the sex.
Who knew?
Well, I know. I didn't know.
Speaking of sex and gender and children, what is the most racy cartoon or television child's programming, I guess, that you let Quinn watch?
Paw Patrol.
Okay, that's not really racy at all, right?
Peppa Pig.
She is a slut.
Peppa Pig can get a little heavy.
Really?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. Well, I learned about this new cartoon in Daneland.
Daneland.
Yeah. Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
it's called John Dillermand. It's actually claymation, not a cartoon, but it's caused quite this kerfuffle in Daneland because of what the show is about. Now, before you look it up, okay, I'm going to send you this link, and we're going to watch I haven't actually watched it. I know what it's about, but I haven't actually watched any of it yet. And I just want you to kind of see if you can grasp what it's about just by watching this little intro here.
All right, the concept of it.
Yeah.
Let's see. And how long has this show been out? The computer.
Well, then just go to YouTube and type in John Dillermand.
This one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
This
Go
one
ahead
right
and
here?
play that right there.
This
yeah.
the intro?
Yeah, that's fine. We should be able to understand what it's about.
Let's just go over what we just saw there.
Yeah.
Clearly some intro.
Right.
And main character looks like a man wearing just a red and white tank top, but he has a tail that can hold things that he can bounce from.
Well, it's funny that you call it a tail.
Okay.
How long would you say that is?
Well, it's almost like Wonder Woman's rope.
It's like a 17. It's long. It's like feet.
I feel like it can change
right
with the need that he has.
Right. Well, what this program is about, it's about John Dillermand and his adventures that he gets into having to deal with his inexplicably huge penis.
No way. That's really what it's about?
That is what it's about.
Oh, now I read these subtitles. Look, the Danish show about a giant penis.
Yeah. It's almost like a prehensile penis, though. You can, like, grab things with it.
Right. Opposable?
Yeah.
Like, well, okay. Well, what's the defense here?
Defense? Or what are they upset about?
Well, I understand what they're upset.
I don't know if anyone's defending this. I don't know.
What's the... Oh, here's a defense. Let's look. What's the... Who okayed this? Who gave it the green light?
Look, I am not a I watch Rick and Morty and South Park and things that are riddled with swear words and things that you'd never want your mother to hear, even if your mother was a raging alcoholic who swore herself. But this is just kind of makes me uncomfortable, especially since it's actually marketed towards kids. Now, SpongeBob SquarePants has episodes that definitely have some innuendo in it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird, but kids won't get that. This is a show about a man's 17-inch or 17-foot long penis
that he has clothed.
It is sheathed, thank goodness.
Right. Let's see. In Denmark, Diller is slang for penis, so Dillermand's name is literally John Penisman. Geared toward 4 to 8-year-olds. 5 minutes long was the first episode. DR, I guess that's the company, defended its content and clarified that the show is not designed to be a commentary on gender. It could just as easily have made a program about a woman with no control over her vagina. Yeah, but I think you're missing the point. The show depicts a man who is impulsive. And
that would also not be okay.
Right.
Like, it's not.
This is their defense. The show depicts a man who is impulsive and not always in control, who makes mistakes, like kids do. But crucially, Dillermand always makes it right. He takes responsibility for his actions.
But it's his penis.
When a woman in the show tells him that he should keep his penis in his pants, for instance, he listens, which is nice. He is accountable. This is the actual quote from the network.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. I'm going to watch it, obviously, as soon as I can find a version in English. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just watch it in Dane.
So somewhere along the line in this first 5-minute episode, a woman tells him to control his penis, and he says, okay. And that's the take-home that the kids are supposed to have. That's the take-home
When
message.
a woman tells you to control your penis, just say, oh, yeah, okay, sorry, my bad. It was out of control there.
It was absolutely.
Walking the dogs and lighting the grill and taming lions and
I think the real problem here is boys who are raised on this show are going to feel
inadequate.
They're
like, oh,
first of all,
why isn't my penis 17 foot long?
And why can't I control it?
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe the biggest problem I have with this is, first of all, this guy's kind of stocky and fat. He would never have that big of a penis.
Sure.
And he's so freaking creepy looking. He's wearing like a 40s bathing suit, the men's one piece. And he's got a weird, mustache, and he just looks rapey. And, he has a 17-foot penis. He looks like Ron Jeremy.
He does look like Ron Jeremy. Oh my gosh. We got to pull up a comparison.
Not quite as gross as Ron Jeremy, because Ron Jeremy's very gross. But
right. Dude, I mean, I know Denmark is usually like the second happiest place rated,
whoever wrote this had to have been kind of high, right?
I mean, I want to know what their other programming is like.
What other shows they've produced.
If this got the green light, I want to know what other,
Can you imagine a PBS show here?
Right.
Arthur, the
or like
aardvark with a huge penis.
Yeah, or like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, one of the characters.
King Friday can't control his penis. Please, King Friday, control your penis.
Yeah, this is super weird.
Yeah.
I mean, to defend it by saying, well, we could have made a show about a vagina.
I know.
I think you missed the mark.
We could have made a show with huge floppy tits that couldn't be controlled. I mean, what do you want from us? God.
What's the difference?
Oh, man. Anyway, so I just thought that was funny.
That is funny.
Moving on. Now, a few weeks ago, we talked about the A10.
Yeah.
The bullets, and I poured bullets all over you, and it looks like you finally cleaned them up.
I did. It took me a couple weeks.
And we got like 25,000 views. So I thought to myself, let's bring back some more A10 information.
Yeah, TikTok
and
loved it.
Just the other day, my dad brought me something.
Get out.
Yeah. His 17-foot.
He finally let you see it after all these years.
So he brought me something, and this right here.
Oh, my gosh.
This right here. You want to hold it?
I do.
Okay.
It's a...
That right there is not an A10 bullet.
You asshole.
That right there is something I picked up today at Smith & Edwards.
Cartridge drill.
Yeah, it's a 20 millimeter, so that bullet right there shoots out of the F-16, the F-15, the F-18. The F-35 has a little bit bigger, and then the F-22 also shoots that.
20 millimeter, which is about, so the entire round with the cartridge is the length of my hand.
Right.
And maybe, what is that, like a penny?
Yeah.
A penny in diameter?
Right.
Okay.
So pretty big, right? You'd probably die if you got hit by one of these.
Yeah, this looks like it was made on a lathe.
Right. It does.
Anyway,
it does.
20 millimeter. Though.
Yeah.
Kay.
So here's what my dad brought me.
No. That can't be real.
It is. It's a dummy 30 millimeter A10 round.
Oh, give me that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Guys, look at this. So this is F-16, 20 millimeter.
Almost all of our fighters, except for the F-35, use the 20 millimeter.
I'm not holding this closer to the camera. Like, it's not. They're the same distance apart. This is 30?
Yeah.
So the round is, obviously bigger in diameter. It's like a quarter almost. But
yeah.
Look
at that cartridge, though.
The cartridge is the size of the entire 20 millimeter.
It is. Except it's girthier.
Girthy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, look right there, guys. 30 millimeter dummy A10. So these are coming out at 60 rounds.
Yeah.
Was it 60 per second?
Yeah. 65 rounds per second.
This.
Yeah.
How do we make machines that move that fast?
I don't know, man. Also, from something else I was reading, it's only like 5 seconds worth of trigger pull.
Yeah, someone commented on our TikTok
about
did they?
Like
the max that they can load it with. So is this, with it being a dummy, is this how heavy it is too?
I don't know. What is
that like?
It's pretty heavy.
It's like 3 pounds. 4 pounds.
I don't know what the innards are. I'm assuming it's missing gunpowder, but
I wish I had some more scale. Here, my face. There you go. That's insane, man.
So yeah,
I thought this was cool.
I know, right?
This is like a kid watching in Denmark watching Dillermand. This is what he's used to.
That's the Rabbit, and this is the Rabbit XL.
Yeah. It sounds like a lawnmower when you turn. That's cool, man.
Oh, crazy, right?
Can he, can he get me one or?
I don't know. He's had this since he was in England, I think.
I'm gonna look on eBay.
They're actually on eBay, and there's one on Amazon, but they're not as legit looking as
No,
this.
that one looks legit.
This is definitely
where did you get this 20?
Smith and Edwards.
Oh yeah,
they had a bunch of random, rando stuff there.
That's rad.
But yeah, they didn't have these though.
I just want what's that called? A bandolo, like Chewy?
Rambo. Except
Yeah,
full of these.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
That'd be so awesome.
so heavy.
That'd be so rad.
Oh man. Well, yeah. Anyway, so I went to Smith and Edwards today, and for the first time, I felt nervous.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
You went there without calling me?
Well,
I mean, come on.
it's a long story.
It's the
but
best place to people watch.
It was.
First of all. So if you're not from Utah and you're listening, Smith and Edwards, it's called Smith and Edwards Country Boy Store.
Yes.
It's basically a junkyard that's organized and a military surplus store mixed with an Ace Hardware.
Yeah, and everything else.
And a Lee dungaree
Right.
shop.
Like, their slogan is that they have everything, and to be honest, they kind of do.
If you want it, we have it if we can find it, or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And also attached to it is a junkyard that has actual. I mean, inside the store there's military surplus, but outside there's like, cots and
tents.
Yeah, all sorts of crazy
Like,
stuff. They even had a bucket full of huge shells from like tank rounds.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
This is the place. If you need an ammo box, don't buy new.
Yeah, there's so many,
And they're like $1.
and they have helmets there too
Yeah.
from like World War II. They're only $8.
Yeah,
so,
I mean they might be out of stuff now.
You know what? If you're looking to start a coup,
Right.
You know what's funny is on the side of the store it says war surplus.
Right.
And as I was looking, I thought it said war supplies, and I was like, oh dear.
I mean, it's kind of there.
That should be their new looking to start a coup.
Last time I went there was with Ethan and the wives
Mm-hmm.
a few weeks ago, and the line at the gun counter.
Oh yeah, it was insane.
We're
There was,
talking like
no ammo
like
either.
4 clerks with like 4 people stacked behind them to buy guns.
Yeah.
And no ammo, but you can make your own. They have everything to make your own.
Well, of course they're going to be busy right now. Biden's about to get inaugurated and take away their guns.
Right, exactly. But
Anyway,
yeah,
so
I gotta go. I want to get me one of those.
yeah,
now.
you should. They actually have a bunch of different ones, but this is the biggest one that they have.
20 mil.
Yeah.
You should go. You should take that one in. And be like, look what I got.
Yeah. You have any of these?
You got any of this?
So on Wednesday, I was at work. I was taking pictures for for employee ID badges.
Sure.
And I had, as most people had, I kept getting news alerts on my phone, and I was like, what the holy crap?
Yeah.
And I had watched a little bit of it during my breaks to kind of see what was going on. And then, I'm in a room with like 30 people, maybe more, and all of a sudden the Amber Alert goes off.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this is, I was like, I did not think Amber Alert.
Right.
The first thing I thought was, oh dear.
Yeah.
Something really bad has happened.
Right.
Like the Trump has launched a nuclear missile, or they're saying that the capitals are being taken over.
Dude, I remember that Amber Alert going off.
Yeah.
And Ashley and I were watching the coverage of the coup, and it felt like for a split second before I saw it was an Amber Alert on my watch, it felt like the second plane going into the World Trade Center.
It did.
But then it was just an Amber Alert.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know what ended up happening with that Amber Alert. Everyone was just like, what is this crap? It's scaring the crap out of me. Freaking red Volvo. Should I pick I have mixed feelings on the Amber Alerts.
Yeah.
Because, they do help. It's shown that it's helped.
Oh, for sure.
But when they send them at like 3 o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
what am I supposed to do? Like, get out of bed, look out my window. Oh, it doesn't look like there's a red Volvo out there.
Well, even if you saw one.
Yeah.
There's no way.
It's not that red Volvo. I don't know. Anyway, so that transitions us into what we'll be talking about mostly today,
Yeah.
just like everyone else. And I don't know if I said this on the show that we were going to try and do less politics, but
This isn't
you know,
really
this isn't really politics. It's more like
it will go political,
right.
but this is more. I don't know. I mean, this was a scary day. I actually had a really hard time working after I saw this start to happen.
Yeah, I went home after my thing there, and I just watched news the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people were comparing it to 9/11.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously it wasn't the same. But it was still just as shocking and still disturbing.
Yeah. Let's start at the beginning here. I'm just gonna let this video play while we talk.
Okay.
The Capitol was stormed by Trump supporters, and it was actually pretty scary. So we talked. Was it 2 episodes ago? We talked about how this was planned, that there was a protest.
Remember, we
planned.
talked about this 4 years ago when I said there was going to be a second civil war.
Well, I mean, we talked about. You're right, but I said, hey, Trump tweeted about a protest on January 6th, and we talked for a minute, and you even asked me, do you think anything's going to happen? And I was like, nah, maybe a couple little things here and there, but
Right.
all of the left-leaning protesters have been told to stay home because this is just what Trump wants. He wants violence, right? And thank God, like there weren't counter-protesters here, because that would have been even worse.
Right.
So interestingly enough, that was a prediction that we made wrong.
You made wrong.
I made wrong.
I've been worried about this for quite some time, and you know, I did have a lot of friends say, "Oh, isn't this show shocking?" and that it's so crazy. And I literally have been worried about this
Right.
since the election, since election day.
Sure.
When Biden was announced the winner, I was worried about this, and I wasn't sure how it was going to play out. I wasn't sure if, you know, what I was most worried about, I guess, was something like this happening, but the military turning, or not the military, but some military or some police, which I guess did kind of happen, turning and joining, and, you know.
Yeah. So first, I put down some notes here that I wanted to make some comparisons. It should be noted, if you're not familiar with the rise of Hitler, which you are.
Yeah. I don't know how many people Googled this when I got home or when they got home that day, but the first thing I was like, timeline of Hitler's rise to power. And then I thought to myself, you know, guys, I know a lot of people want to put him in jail, but, you know, the last guy we did that to, we don't want him to write Mein Kampf Part 2.
So that's exactly. So if people don't know, in 1923, Hitler staged a coup. It failed because he didn't have backup. Some people died, I think, and he ended up running but getting caught. That's why he wasn't killed.
Yeah, because he was a total puss.
And he went to prison for 5 years, which is when he wrote Mein Kampf.
Right.
And then 5 years after that, what do you know? He is the Führer.
Yeah.
So it was 10 years after his coup attempt. He was not just elected as chancellor; he was the Führer, and
Mein Führer.
Yeah, and was slipping into.
Here's a fun little graphic that I found on the internet that you can put up.
But I want to talk about first what we saw in there, and then what we think should happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know, people had zip tie handcuffs. People were armed. There were pipe bombs. In fact, just before we started the show tonight, I read a headline that they found a truck with 11 homemade bombs. 11 homemade bombs, ARs. Yeah.
And they also had Molotov cocktails.
Right.
So all this tells me that they did not succeed in what they were trying to do. And I think what they were trying to do was set the Capitol on fire and burn it to the ground.
It's true, but it's marble.
Well,
they could have burned the insides.
I don't know. I've seen Independence Day. I see what happens. All right.
Actually, that was a scene from Independence Day. Yeah. So I just put this timeline up. 1923's coup. 24 sentenced. Oh, only 5 months. I thought he was in jail for longer. publishes Mein Kampf in 23. National Socialist Democratic. Well, I can't remember what the whole thing stands for. Anyway, becomes Nazi. He becomes chancellor, and then he merges. Their political system back then had a chancellor and a president.
You know what
He merged the
bothers
two.
me is that the word social is in the
Right.
title of the Nazi Party,
Yeah.
but Hitler was not a socialist. He hated communism,
Right.
and he actually identifies much more right-leaning.
Right.
Um,
The only difference is he wants. Yeah, it's people. It's tough to distinguish, but you have to think about it. He wanted the state to have complete control, but that he wasn't about to hand things out.
right.
So, in capitalism, I don't know. It's hard to research. It's hard to talk about without having like a whiteboard available to talk about the difference between communism, fascism, capitalism, socialism. They're very different things. There's not just a right and left scale here.
Right.
But when we see the pipe bombs and we see zip ties, the noose that they erected,
Apparently,
also
they wanted to hang senators.
I have a video. Let me play this.
They
real
wanted
quick.
to hang Mike Pence.
Right, that's what I was going to play. Is this video, let's see. No, here it is. I think this is. Can't remember which one it is. Let me just try this one. No, this is just when they're breaking in. Anyway, maybe I can't find it. There's a video of them chanting "Hang Mike Pence" as they're breaking through the door.
Right.
Which Mike Pence was in the building
Mm-hmm.
when that happened.
Right.
That's scary as hell.
Right.
They're talking about executing the vice president while the vice president is in that building.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mike had to go back to the White House and face Trump. Can you imagine?
I thought he didn't do that till like today.
I mean, he might not have. We now know that Mike Pence actually was the one who contacted the National Guard.
Basically, did everything
Yeah.
presidential.
So,
Like, I really feel like in all of this, especially, I don't know what the deal with the House Republicans are. I don't know if it's because it's easier to get elected to the House or what. But the Republican senators, they didn't necessarily turn their backs on Trump, but they did.
sure.
And, it almost seemed like this, especially with McConnell and Pence, like this, oh, wow.
Right.
What have we done?
Right.
Like almost legitimately, just like finally grasping and realizing that they've screwed up
Right.
big.
Right. So let's just talk about the people that brought the things that did this, that stormed in, some with the intent to harm, others with the intent just to make a show, I guess, whatever. Definitely some groupthink happening.
Right.
It's fair to say. I'm sure that there are fine people.
Have you seen the videos of these people?
Yeah, I have.
There's nothing fine about them.
But I want to talk about the big three here:
Uh-huh.
insurrection, sedition, and treason.
right.
And I want to ask you, are any of those definitions for what happened, are those hyperbolic in your opinion?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. No,
All right.
I
good.
really don't. I
Good.
really don't.
I actually don't either.
I don't know about treason. Well, sedition definitely.
Yeah, so sedition, conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. That is literally the definition of what Trump, Don Jr., and Giuliani did before they marched down
I
Pennsylvania
think
Avenue.
even Don Jr. had an ocean moment.
Yeah. Like, literally, go watch their speeches. This is exactly what they did.
Right.
Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel. This is exactly what those three did, plus more, which we could Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan. There's a lot of them.
You know what? I wish I should have had this ready.
So I believe the punishment for sedition.
Ted Cruz!
That was so loud. So loud. Let's see. It's up to 2 years of imprisonment for sedition.
That was more than that.
It might be different. That was the law that was signed by John Adams back in 1798. So
I think it changed after the Civil War.
probably. Insurrection,
Pretty much the same thing.
a violent uprising against an authority or government.
Right.
So what Trump did was sedition.
Mm-hmm.
What the people did was sedition and insurrection.
Right.
Okay? Got it. Treason. Let's look. Definition of treason: the offense of attempting to overthrow the government of one's country or of assisting its enemies in war, specifically the act of levying war against the United States or adhering to or giving aid and comfort to its enemies by one who owes it its allegiance. So treason goes a little bit further and talks about helping our enemies. But the first sentence there, the offense of attempting to overthrow the government.
Right.
So I don't find these accusations as hyperbolic at all.
I don't think that most people do. I mean, I watched ABC News all day, and at one point they switched. I don't know if it was like a memo, but they stopped calling them protesters and they started calling them anarchists.
Right.
that was like
I don't think they're anarchists.
they correct themselves. They're like anarchists, and then later they switched to seditionists, and and
CNN had insurrection on their screen
yeah,
all day long.
that was the big one. I mean, that was what Joe Biden said. That's what a lot of the Republican people and Democrats are saying.
Here's my problem right now, though,
Mm-hmm.
is so far the people who have been arrested, those aren't the charges.
Oh,
The charges are like first-degree felony for, like, let's look. There was one I saw, arrested for capital. Dude who had the podium who tried to sell it on eBay.
he did.
Yeah, for $84,000.
You know what I loved about CNN's coverage is at one point they were like, these people are stupid. They are stupid, stupid people. They're doing this. They're taking pictures. They're on camera saying their names,
Right.
giving their home states.
Right.
They are stupid.
They are quite dumb. However, in terms of groupthink,
Mm-hmm.
these people have been told by the president,
Uh-huh.
1/3 of the government,
Mm-hmm.
that this is okay,
Right.
that this is what needs to be done. So they didn't think they were breaking any laws.
Really? You really think they weren't? Or do you think that they'd get a pardon or that what?
There has to be some of them who really thought this is going to work.
Well, I'm sure. Why
Right.
else bring Molotov cocktails and bombs and 1776 flags and Confederate flags and
And while I'm looking up arrests, I want to show a picture of this guy. This is the guy that wears the horns, painted face. There's been a lot of misinformation about this guy because he was spotted at a BLM protest earlier this year in Arizona, I want to say.
uh-huh.
He was a counter-protester. This guy is a
Oh.
Trump supporter through and through. His name is like Josh Angley or something like that.
That sounds right.
So there's been a lot of misinformation. So the
I-
two people that listen to this show know that he is not Antifa. The BLM protests he was been to were as a counter protester. Yeah.
I think that was the most annoying part of this whole thing was I stopped reading comments again because there were, and it just upsets me how many people, dude, it was Antifa. There,
Yeah.
you know, and like, okay, well, where's the proof? Where's the evidence?
Right.
You know, just like the ballots. You know, there's no evidence. It's just
Right.
someone told you that, dude. And then they'll be like, "Wake up, bro!" Like,
Yeah.
what?
the dude who stole the podium, his name's Adam Johnson. He's 36 from Florida. He was charged Saturday with theft, violent entry, and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. What? What?
Well, it's Florida.
But no, this is a federal offense. This is a federal charge.
I
But why
I
not?
wonder if they're trying to charge these people right now before Biden's group takes over.
Why?
Because Biden's people are going to go after them way harder.
Oh, so you think the DOJ? Well, there's been talk of Trump, yeah, like on Parler, for example.
Right.
People are like, you should let him know now who you are so he can pardon you before he's out. So, my question is, and the charges can certainly change,
Right.
But why not? Where's the insurrection? Where's sedition here?
Well, it seems to me like this is more of the rhetoric that we've been giving. You know, it's just a slap on the wrist. They learn their lesson, and I don't think that's the case for these people. I mean, basically, and I don't know, this is probably generalizing, but basically, Trump gathered up a bunch of Timothy McVeighs and stuck them on the way out of the Capitol. And I mean, these are all conspiracy theorists.
Right.
I mean, I guess that's generalizing. I mean, I don't know. But,
well,
I mean,
like I said, groupthink plays a role.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing as a cult. It really is.
Well, I've
in
been
terms
saying
of
that for forever
Well,
now,
and
is
what
that this Trump is so similar to a cult. It's crazy.
Right. And mostly what I mean by that, though, is that it can suck you in with groupthink. So in terms of people regretting things, though, this dude, this guy right here, he was the first one into the House chamber, I think. I think that's the House chamber. Could be wrong. No, that looks like the Senate. Anyway, he was the dude who was hanging from the wall, then sat in this seat, right?
And declared Trump the winner.
Right. Later, he went on Facebook Live or Facebook whatever, the little stories, talking to his followers, his Facebook friends, saying, I don't know what to do. I'm all over the news. I'm in downtown D.C., but I didn't do anything different than anyone else there. So you could sense the regret, right? But this dude owns his own business. He's a returned missionary for the church, and owns his own business in Boise, Idaho. I've already left him a bad review.
What a dumbass!
Yeah.
I'm telling you, these people are so out of touch, man.
But it doesn't matter though, right? When it comes to charging these people, obviously the defense is going to be, well, he was caught up in the moment. Well, if you can be caught up in this moment, then you can be caught up in a moment later.
That doesn't feel like a good defense to me.
But what is the defense going to be? Like, if you were a defense attorney,
I wouldn't want to represent this guy.
Obviously, they're going to.
I'd rather represent the Unabomber. At least he was smart.
Right. Well, at least he had a cause.
Yeah.
I mean, and then in the middle of this siege that was incited by Trump and his lackeys, he gets on Twitter and completely just disavows these guys.
Yeah, I did.
He's like, this is unacceptable what you guys are doing. It's like, 2 hours ago you told us to walk down here, dude.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, I did read an article that there's a lot of people now that are turning on Trump.
Yes, I've looked at some parlor screen grabs of people saying, well, fuck that guy, he turned on us.
What the hell did you expect?
But you're missing the point. The point is they still believe in that view. They still believe that they're in the right.
Oh, yeah.
And that now Trump has been bought by the left.
He's in on it.
Yeah. So they're leaderless. I don't know what's scarier. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not like these people haven't existed already.
That's true.
So, one of the things, when we talk about what to do with all these people, and like I said earlier, a lot of news reporters were comparing this to 9/11 because that's the way this kind of made him feel. And then one of them said, but today is 1/7, or what did it happen on the 7th or 8th?
6th.
So today is 1/7. Drawing the comparison to 9/12, the day after 9/11,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
And it's time to rebuild. And I thought about that. I'm like, okay, but it's not the same because
this is within.
That was a terror attack, and we had a good idea of who to go after. They weren't U.S. citizens. These people are U.S. citizens. They're afforded all of our rights.
Right.
And
this was within.
And what do we do with them? Like what?
Yeah.
What do we do with this radical group of people?
That's why I brought up those three things and asked if you felt that they were hyperbolic in terms of punishment. Because here's another one. This one. The Confederate flag in the United States Capitol. I don't know.
That didn't happen in the Civil War.
I don't know how. I don't know what more type of symbolism you need
right.
for this group.
Right.
Right? This is just despicable.
South will rise.
You're a traitor.
Right.
You're a traitor. You're carrying that symbol for a reason. Right? Flags are important.
It's the traitor's flag.
Flags are important. They have meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And you're carrying it through the United States Capitol, which for some people is a very sacred place.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the picture of treason.
Right.
That's a picture of it. You know, even if this guy didn't ruin anything, didn't hurt anybody, he should be prosecuted as a traitor. Why else would you bring a flag from previous traitors?
Right.
It's like taking a swastika into German parliament.
Right.
Actually, no, it's worse than that. It's worse than that.
It's
because
like taking it into an
because
Israeli,
that wasn't a civil war in
Israeli
Germany.
parliament.
Right. Yes, that's better. This picture is just absolutely disgusting to me, and I think will be in history books. I think this picture will be in history books. Like a Confederate flag in the United States Capitol, I think will be there pictured with Donald Trump, and that's his legacy is this day. You know that,
His
right?
legacy's-
Like this is everything.
His legacy's over.
You're right.
Like anyone who's like, well, he did more things in 47 days
That's
than
over.
Joe Biden did in 47 years.
This 5 hours is all he'll be remembered for.
Right.
That's it. And the only president who will be impeached twice.
And only the fourth president who won't attend inauguration.
Well, I'm hoping that he just wasn't invited. You know?
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the, quote unquote conspiracies here, because I've seen a number of videos now. Some of them are very obvious, like police officers taking selfies.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck?
Right.
And then police officers opening the street barricades, because they had 4 levels of security here.
Right.
So the only excuse I can think of for that is let's open this one, let them calm down, and they'll be stuck at the next barrier.
Right.
Even that's pretty weak, though.
Right.
In my opinion. So what do you think here with the Capitol Police? We know that one police officer was killed by a fire extinguisher to the head. What do you think? What's going on with some of these police officers?
Well, see, that's what I was worried about is people turning.
Right.
Like, so there is a possibility that they decided to, disavow their oath and fight against the government. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure that will be probed.
The House Sergeant.
The
Sergeant at Arms of the House, Sergeant at Arms of the Senate, Capitol Police Chief, all resigned.
Yeah.
Why?
Pressure, man.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand why, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But why?
There's probably another reason.
What did you do? Or what you didn't do in this case.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff to be said about the Department of Justice and the Pentagon refusing to give help, or the Capitol Police refusing to accept help. We don't really know which way it went yet.
Right.
Well,
did you hear about the Secret Service? That about a week ago, they pulled a bunch of people off Trump's team because they were worried that they were going to turn.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not hear about that. So they removed people from their post on the presidential detail because they were afraid that they would side with him if something happened. That's scary as shit.
I know. It didn't get a lot of coverage, but it was on there.
And I should be clear. Most of the police officers here, I think it's fair to say most, were trying to stop it. I saw plenty of fistfights, plenty of police with batons and shields trying to stop it. One woman was obviously shot while she was trying to climb through a window at gunpoint for some reason. So I think most of the police officers were trying to stop it, but then there were definitely cops who let them in and then obviously didn't take anyone into custody, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you just let them walk out? What? Why? If I just robbed a 7-Eleven in front of a cop, he's going to let me walk out so the situation doesn't escalate more?
Well, they were massively outnumbered.
Sure.
And I don't know. It's probably pretty similar to the riots over the summer. Maybe they were taking the same mentality.
Well, let's talk about that.
I am tired of the compare. Like,
are you though?
No. What I'm tired of is people who are like, well, it's almost like well, you guys did it over the summer. I'm like, okay, this is quite a bit different.
So
regardless. It'd be one thing if it would even be one thing if they ransacked D.C., burnt down cars and stores. They stormed the Capitol with weapons and Molotov cocktails and bombs.
Chanting, hang Mike Pence.
Not don't hands up, don't shoot.
Right.
It was hands down, we're gonna kill you, boy.
Right. Like, yeah, hands up, don't shoot. No justice, no peace.
Yeah.
Compared to hang Mike Pence.
Right.
But let's talk about the response.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were unmarked men with no badges, no markings of any kind when Black Lives Matter had a protest in D.C. 50 dudes protecting the Lincoln Memorial.
Right.
Not to mention the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
What happened here then? You can't help but draw a comparison.
Well, I mean, the news outlets have, and I mean, I'm thinking that this we'll know more, I think, once all of Trump's people are out and we have Merrick Garland in there.
Dude, Merrick Garland's gonna and I understand that the other side is going to say, well, they didn't burn anything, blah blah blah. Well,
except for our faith in
right. All I'm trying to compare is the police response, because
right,
and the police, not even response, the proactivity of the police, because Black Lives Matter was protesting being killed.
Right.
They believe that, as do I, that there's injustice, there's racial injustice in policing. So they were protesting
and that
that.
sometimes white people can become unhinged.
These people are protesting that they lost. That's really not the same. So
and
in terms of why you're
it's
protesting,
fictional.
right?
I do love how all the news, all of them now, are saying, are calling that a lie. They're not calling it alleged. They're not calling it, a conspiracy. They're saying this is a lie.
If they realize what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean that if we actually say you should fight for your country, and that you should that it's going to take some combat, and that
Right.
we should never give up? You mean that those words actually have literal meaning to some people?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And there's the police. Oh man,
I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to come of it. I mean, hopefully something. I don't think it'll happen.
Well, something great that came of it was Twitter and Facebook banning Donald Trump, which that he is just.
You were so excited about that
so
too.
excited.
You've been wanting that for months now.
First of all,
years.
I should tell you, I was looking at TikTok on my phone when that Associated Press headline popped up. I hadn't even swiped it off my screen by the time you texted me.
I know.
And I was like, dude, I just saw it. So, I mean, that's fantastic news. And Parler, just before you came over here, Amazon removed it from their app store.
Oh, really?
And Apple finally did.
So you can't even get it.
No, I downloaded it last night because I knew they were going to get rid of it. Right? I downloaded it last night. I created an account today. I just wanted to.
It'll still work?
Oh yeah, it still works.
Oh.
It's like Flappy Bird, right? If you have the app, you can get in. They just removed it so you can't find it in the App Store. You'd have to surf on Safari or DuckDuckGo. You could log in that way,
right?
Just like you could with any other social media.
But his voice has been.
Well, I should mention Donald Trump's not on Parler.
Oh, he's not?
No, the only people on Parler, Eric Trump's on there, Rudy Giuliani, Sean Hannity, those people. I searched for Donald Trump. I can't find any account that is verified on Parler that's his.
How much of an ego hit do you think he took when they banned him?
Oh.
Do you think he wept?
Yes.
Or do you think he threw his phone across the room?
I think he is going through the stages of grief. I honestly do.
There was I think CNN was saying, this is a president who has not gotten past this stage of grief.
Right. No, I think he's absolutely grieving his loss. That was his whole platform, man. His whole platform, 88.7 million followers.
Right.
200,000, mind you, added in the last week.
Oh, added.
He had got down to 88.5 because I was keeping track.
Yeah, we know.
He added 200,000 after this, and for him to lose, that's how he speaks.
Right.
Even the videos that he records, he posts to Twitter.
Right.
So, this is amazing. This is the best thing ever.
We haven't heard anything from him.
It's great. It's so relaxing.
I know. And we're pretty confident that Nancy Pelosi and
they already said
the generals have taken away the nuclear codes.
that was, man, imagine that conversation.
Can you imagine how it's just like they're handling him with absolute kid gloves?
Absolutely.
Like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President. You can still be president, okay? But you can't have the nuclear codes or...
Put yourself in the shoes of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
You report directly to the president.
Right.
And you get a call from Nancy Pelosi,
Right.
the opposition leader. And she says, I'm worried that this man might launch a nuke or start a military engagement
Right.
because he's so unhinged. I mean, what do you say?
Apparently, the same thing happened to Nixon.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. I mean, it's a scorched earth policy.
Right.
He's already doing it. He's tearing. He already tore down the GOP. They're done.
That's one thing I was thinking about today is the GOP is gone.
How can they come back?
Well, they will. And here's the thing. Okay, here's what is so wrong with Trump's GOP and the thinking of hey, we should back this guy. He gets us votes. Okay. They don't need this base.
It's true.
They don't need this base. 74 million people voted for Donald Trump. Now, we don't have any idea what percentage of them just voted based on the R, but I know it was a lot.
Yes.
I have plenty of friends that said, I vote Republican. I couldn't vote for Biden. I don't like Trump, but I think I'd rather have a Republican in there.
Abortion. There's always one issue.
Right. Now, they don't need that base. It should be right now. It's the crazy people are voting Trump, and they're bringing along the rest of the GOP because he's got an R.
Right.
It needs to be the other way around, where these regular, sane people, GOP members that just don't want taxes and don't like abortions or whatever,
sure,
to vote for their person, and then the other people were like, well, I don't want no liberals, and they're taking our guns. But it's a complete opposite right now, and that's not a good look. That's like what's an extreme liberal? That's I can't think of anything. It's anarchists. I don't know.
Right, a nihilist. Yeah, I don't know. But I wonder about people like Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan.
Right.
These diehard who are representatives. Right. I think, frankly, the Senate should vote to expel Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley. And Mike Lee.
I wish they would resign. Mike Lee, whatever, he's fine. He didn't have anything to. Ted Cruz and Hawley,
for sure,
they need to go.
Right.
Ted Cruz needs to resign.
The thing that saved Mike Lee was that he didn't vote on the objections.
It got interrupted before he started.
Right. He made a pretty powerful took a pretty powerful stance.
Right.
There's a case to be made for Mike Lee between the election and this week.
Yeah, I suppose, but I don't. He never said he was going to.
That's true.
And
so they can be expelled with a 2/3 vote.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No one in the Senate likes Ted Cruz. I know that they all hated him. Apparently, as everything was happening, Mitt Romney started screaming at Ted Cruz and just yelling at him, berating him about how this was all his fault. I don't know if there's any video of that, but I sure would like to see it.
Mitt was on fire.
I popped a boner for Mitt this big that night when I heard
the 30 millimeter.
Yeah, his talk was so spot on. He hates Trump. Yeah. He hates him.
He voted to convict.
I know.
Let's call it what it is. Right.
It was basically just I told you guys this was going to happen. I told you 4 years ago. I had a big meeting at the U that said, don't vote for this maniac. I told you. Why would you listen to me? I'm Mitt Romney, damn it.
It's true. It's true.
That's totally what his speech was, and he hammered Trump, and he hammered the senators. And you know what? Mitch McConnell did too.
So did
Mitch McConnell was like, fuck you guys. You guys are so stupid.
Right.
And honestly, minus Ted Cruz and Hawley, what's the first name? Josh Hawley. When they came back, most of them dropped their bids to reject.
Yeah. Which is another thing. Entirely. So Kelly Loeffler,
right,
Senator who lost just now, was very clear in her campaign that she was going to vote to object.
Right.
After the siege, she said, "I'm not going to anymore," which tells me one thing:
right,
that she never actually believed that the objections were legitimate.
No, I don't know. Well,
because if you did, would the siege matter?
Was it Mitt Romney that? Oh, Mitt Romney said even if we had a special committee, it would not convince these people.
Right.
And then Lindsey Graham, did you hear Lindsey Graham?
Yeah.
He's like, what did he say? Something, so and so votes were stolen. How many of you actually believe that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Like I want to put a laugh track because to the back of Lindsey, it was like a stand-up.
It was
special.
like a stand-up routine. The only problem, I mean, I have many problems with Lindsey, is that the next day after Twitter banned him, he complains on Twitter. How can you ban conservative speech? Well, if you consider insurrection conservative speech, then
these people need to back away. This is not conservative speech.
I don't know why.
What are they conserving? What are they? What?
Right.
They're not. They're wanting they're wanting a new country.
Right.
They want. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they want. You know. I don't know. What are they not getting that they want?
I don't know, because everything that they've complained about has never happened.
Right.
Right. No one's actually taken their guns. They've complained about that since 2008.
They're gonna abort our babies and turn us gay.
Abortions go down during a Democratic leadership. There really isn't a case here. And
I want you to listen to this. I pulled the audio from YouTube because I was worried that YouTube was going to take it down. But this is audio from one of the people that stormed the Capitol that was there when this girl got shot.
Okay. Did you watch the video of her being shot?
Yes.
It's awful.
Yeah.
But she was at gunpoint and tried to climb through the door.
Right. Well,
he could have arrested her on the other side, but there were also 200 people behind her.
Well, otherwise it would have been an empty threat,
Right.
Maybe he shoots the gun in the air.
Maybe
that helps.
I like when conservatives or anti-BLM Black Lives Matter people say that.
Well, listen.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you just start with your first and last name and where you're from?
Yeah, I'm Thomas Barani from New Jersey.
Can you show us your hand?
Yeah.
How did you get that on your hand?
Well, we had stormed into the chambers inside, and there was a young lady who rushed through the windows. A number of police and Secret Service were saying, "Get back, get down, get out of the way." She didn't heed the call, and as we kind of raced up to grab people and pull them back, they shot her in the neck, and she fell back on me and started saying she was fine, it's cool. And then she started kind of like moving weird, and blood was coming out of her mouth and neck and nose, and I don't know if she's alive or dead anymore.
And how did you get back out of the building?
Riot police came in and started ushering us out with their sticks.
Where did you enter the building and where did you exit?
Other side with the scaffolding. We tore through the scaffolding through flashbangs and tear gas and blitzed our way in through all the chambers, just trying to get into Congress or whoever we could get into and tell them that we need some kind of investigation into this. And what ends up happening is someone might have ended up dead. And that's not the kind of government we can have. People have to do something about it. I can't.
If you need any help at all, EMS is right there.
I'm not injured. It could have been me, but she went in first.
This isn't.
It was one of us.
Thank you for telling us your story.
Yeah. Just make sure people know, because this cannot stand anymore. This is wrong. They don't represent anyone. Not Republican, Democrat, Independent, nobody. And now they'll kill people.
Who are you saying will kill people?
I don't. Police, congressmen and women, they don't care. I mean, they think we're a joke. $2,000 checks was a joke to them. There's people filming us, laughing at us as we march down the street. At the Department of Justice, there's a man in the window laughing at us, filming us. And here it was a joke to them until we got inside, and then all of a sudden guns came out. But I mean, we're at a point now it can't be allowed to stand. We have to do something. People have to do something, because this could be you or your kids.
No.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack that.
And this kid was like, during the Black Lives Matter, he was like, "Go home, you don't have any.
They deserve to be shot."
Yeah.
He's defending
You're
Kyle.
all criminals.
He's defending Kyle Rittenhouse. So,
this kid is a dumb ass.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed, but she was almost giving him like a police-style interview.
Right.
Right? Like, where were you at? And what time?
She's going
how
to
did you get
immediately
in?
turn it over to the FBI.
Yeah, this kid's getting arrested. Like, what an idiot.
So, $2,000 checks. I guess he's a liberal for that now.
Yeah.
Because Trump is. These people will kill you for storming. So, you were going to go in screaming, yelling.
And you thought that they'd just be like, "Oh, come on in.
Come on in, and why don't you take the floor?
Yeah, take the.
Yeah.
Come talk to
Can
this,
Madam-
the senators."
Madam Speaker, can we give him 5 minutes? You got 5 minutes. The floor is yours. Like, wow. Just wow.
Yeah. This kid is so
Yeah.
stupid and so backwards, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't. He's delusional.
That's amazing.
And maybe he's only watched Fox News or you know. I think you'd have to be beyond Fox News to be that delusional. You'd have to be on the OAN or the Newsmax.
Yeah. So, man, that's just. Speaking of echo chambers.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about that a lot. I wanted to bring up Parler because Facebook, and Twitter, they have a heart or a like.
Right.
Right. If you want to quote unquote like something on Parler, there's a button called Echo.
Oh.
And it says, if I were to echo something, it would pop up on my feed now and say, Brian echoed this. I'm like, wow, you guys aren't even trying to hide it. You're not even trying. Like, you do. You just want to echo all the same shit. Like, man, that's it. That is an interview for the Times as well. Like, that's how embarrassing.
Yeah.
How embarrassing. We made it past the tear gas and flashbangs.
No, he said we made it using tear gas and flashbangs.
Well, that's true. That's true. I thought he meant that they were using them against him.
No, because they were using them.
Wow.
That's why they had them put on masks and everything when they were getting out of the chambers.
Unbelievable.
Did you see the one meme? The one meme that has the senator. It's a Republican senator. I can't remember who it is, but he's like cowering behind a chair.
Yeah.
And then it's got a picture of Johnny Depp or I can't remember, some kid in a noose, and he's like, "First time, bro."
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a high school kid.
Right.
First time, bro.
Right. Man, this is. I was telling Ashley earlier that this. A lot of times things happen in the past 4 years, and I get really kind of blood boiled in the beginning, and then I kind of just relax, you know?
Right.
This situation makes me more upset the more I think about it.
Right.
Because of how many people believe it, because of what's happening with the police, why were the National Guard delayed? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that as I think about it more, I'm more upset about.
Right.
You know? Like, the entirety of the United States Congress was in that building.
Yeah.
Do you know how close we were?
It was like last Lone Survivor or
Designated
Gilead.
Survivor. That's why we were this fucking close to one more step towards Gilead.
Right?
Like, like they were so close. Imagine if they had hanged Mike Pence on the grass of the United States Capitol.
I mean, it would have been.
Or Nancy Pelosi.
That guy with the AR said he wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi.
They would have.
Oh, yeah.
If she was in there, they would have.
Yeah.
They would have killed anybody they found.
Yeah.
I think that. Like, the groupthink was so strong. These people looked like animals as they were clawing their way through, punching police officers who they're supposed to back the blue, right?
Yeah. Right? There's so much hypocrisy. They're like, back the blue, but I'm going to hit you with this fire extinguisher.
Right.
What? I don't get it, man. They can't pick a cause, and I still don't know what they want. I don't know what they want.
I know we just talked about this comparison, but let's talk about it again. We were at the Utah State Capitol the day of the George Floyd protest.
Right.
You and I were there. Imagine if that crowd had stormed the Utah State Capitol. Do you think they just would have been walked back out by the highway patrol?
No way, man.
These guys were just walked out. No one was arrested on scene.
Yeah.
No one was arrested. These guys were punching the police. Like, they just walked him back out. Like, go home, we'll arrest you later. That was like the mentality.
It was.
And the engagement, the selfies, like once again, you and I were at the Utah State Capitol. We saw people screaming at cops' faces, feet from them, and the cops were not responding.
Right.
If you remember, the thing that we took away from that day was one police officer talking to one black man.
Right.
All the rest of the cops were ignoring people. In the Capitol, in the United States Capitol, they're taking selfies.
It is upsetting.
Like I remember looking to our left and seeing a young black man yelling into a cop's face, and the cop just looking, 10 degrees above the horizon, not responding.
Right.
And then I looked to the right, and that other guy's, they're actually having a conversation.
It was James Franco. That's who was being hung and said first time. Trying to find the exact meme, but I can't.
All right, enough on this.
I mean, honestly,
he's going to be impeached tomorrow, or on Wednesday, I should say.
I mean, there's a lot of Republicans who that night were like, get him out.
Yeah.
Just 25th.
I'm actually very surprised Mike didn't invoke the 25th. If you were Donald Trump's vice president, and he put him in direct harm's way.
Yeah, and from what I understand, Mike Pence has kind of been Trump's whipping boy, and it's just getting worse and worse lately.
Mike Pence was in the Capitol when Trump told the people to go there.
Right.
He put him in harm's way.
He did. He put them all in harm's way.
And he says no to the 25th. And then 2 cabinet secretaries resign as if it's some protest. No, the reason you resigned is because you didn't want to vote on the 25th Amendment.
Yeah. It's
the only reason you resigned.
I don't know why you wouldn't resign. There's only a couple weeks left. What is it? That big paycheck or what? Like what is?
Right, the billionaire Betsy DeVos.
Yeah, all these people are wealthy. Like what is it that's keeping them there? Yeah. Everyone just needs to leave that man, let him stay in the house, and then we can Gaddafi him on
right.
20th.
All of this to say, by the way, that this incident, this siege of the United States Capitol, completely overshadowed the fact that Trump called and intimidated the Georgia Election Committee, and it was recorded.
And they recorded it because they
knew he was going to lie.
No, because Lindsey Graham called and did the same thing, and they didn't record it.
Right.
And so no one believed them, and so this time they're like, we're going to record it.
But I saw an interview with the Secretary of State, and he's like, we weren't going to release anything unless he lied about what was said. And sure enough, he lied on Twitter about what was said in the phone call. So they released it. And if you haven't listened to it, this is so mob bossy. Let me just play this one thing, dude. I wasn't sure if I was going to play this or not, but we may as well.
Shredded ballots in Fulton County, because that's what the rumor is. And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
This is Ryan, Germany. No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County. We're having.
But have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
No.
You sure, Ryan?
Right there. That are you sure?
Right.
What do you think that really meant?
Like he was going to have him whacked?
Yeah, it absolutely sounds like that.
This whole
he
call
sounds like a mob boss.
This whole call reminded me when I worked in customer service, and you had a customer who you knew was wrong,
right?
But you were just placated. You're just like,
okay,
whatever. Here's a refund. Right. Just get out. Please don't come back.
I heard that. Are you sure? And I was like,
are you sure, Ryan?
That's a fucking gun to your head right there. Like,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
He was sure.
Did you see this? No, I didn't see it. Are you sure you didn't see it? Like that. That whole phone call is.
It's
grounds for
right
impeachment.
There, man. I don't understand why. I don't know. Before we take a break, because I think we're getting pretty close to that time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play a quick game with you.
Yes.
I was listening to KSL the other day on. Was it yesterday? Maybe. Yeah, I guess it was yesterday. And they once J-Mac left to go fail at winning the Burgess Owens ticket. He should also resign.
I saw an article today calling for his resignation.
Him and Chris Stewart.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Lee Lonsberry is his replacement. He's been on for a year or so now, and he's conservative enough where he's been. I believe he was the press secretary for Rob Bishop. So his show is somewhat conservative. It's not nearly as balanced, I'd say, as J-Mac. J-Mac was pretty balanced until he started running for office for some reason. Then he
imagine
changed.
that. Yeah.
And that's probably why he lost. Man, he had a lot of hate on Facebook, like a lot. Anyway, so what I want to do, he took some calls, and KSL's listener base is older,
sure,
especially during the day.
Yeah.
And conservative.
Conservative, yeah.
Now, what I want you to do is I want you to guess. I'm going to play you 2 phone calls that he took, and I want you to guess if, just by the first couple seconds of hearing this person's voice, if they're going to go after Trump or if they're going to be Trump supporters.
Okay.
And try to excuse him. All
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So here's the first call.
On lines and kick things off this segment, we have Dean calling from West Valley.
Let me rewind a little bit, and he can give you some context of what he's...
He should change his mind, and failing that, if he stays the course and is absent, should Mike Pence be there in his
The question he's asking is, should Donald Trump
open up the phone lines and kick things off this segment?
inauguration.
We have Dean calling from West Valley. Dean, as you hear the words of the president these many days now, it feels like many days, but we're only 2 days removed from what unfortunately transpired on Wednesday. What do you feel? How do you react?
You know, as I listen to that...
That's tough, man. I'm gonna say he's going after Trump.
And I'm glad you bring up this discussion. It totally disgusted me. He's just another accumulation of more of his lies,
yes.
Endless lies, and go on to justify his behavior.
It's funny because
should he be in attendance at the inauguration?
Yeah, that included. Listen, was Adolf Hitler a part of the war? He never shot a gun. Should he be held accountable for what he did?
Yeah, well, I understand the point that you're making. I'm grateful to you for...
The caller didn't...
He didn't know. Hitler did. He did fire a
No,
weapon.
I totally agree with him. We've talked about that before, but...
calling in and listening to the program. John in Bluffdale calls, respond to the question of whether or not President Trump should be in attendance after asserting he would not be attending the January 20th inauguration. My question, should Mike Pence attend in his stead, representing the outgoing administration? John, what do you think?
Okay, I'm sure glad for your show.
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming that you got one of each, but even if you had played that one first, I think I would have said that he's pro-Trump.
One thing that bothered me was President Trump made the statement at the end that him and his followers would be keeping on. That bothers me. He should not come to the inauguration, but Vice President Pence should.
So I was wrong.
Another thing that bothers me, President Trump still does not concede. He doesn't congratulate Joe Biden for his victory. And another thing that bothered me on the news this morning, one of the national news reporters made the comment. They had a comment recording, or a news reporter heard Giuliani make this statement that when they started to march toward the Capitol, Giuliani made the statement to the demonstrators, use combat tactics.
Yeah.
So, okay, when I heard this, I heard this guy, I almost swerved off the road. Because when I heard, oh, I'm sure glad for your show, Lee. Let me tell you what. I was like, oh boy, here it comes. And he's like, Trump is a liar.
Right. There is, by the way, I don't know if I've necessarily seen anything from Trump himself, but a lot of chatter about demonstrations on the 20th.
Yeah,
and on the 19th.
I've heard, but I mean, there's obviously the National Guard there now. They've got a fence. So we'll just have to see what happens. Hopefully, it'll be
like with COVID and everything, like just
maybe these people will just wipe themselves out.
just go do it at your house, man.
There's no reason.
Why take the chance?
You don't
at this
even
point?
need to be sworn in.
No, man. Like
he just becomes president.
Just
at
show
noon.
up at the White House at noon and get the fuck out, man. Like,
get out, or I'm gonna Gaddafi you right here.
Right.
I'm gonna Gaddafi you.
So last prediction I made was wrong about what these guys are capable of. So
I knew this was gonna happen.
This could have been. Well, you're right. Both of us predicted that this could happen, but this particular event, I didn't think anything would happen on electoral count day.
It's usually can't do anything.
Right.
It's so stupid. The whole thing was so stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess what I played those clips for you because I just wanted you to be encouraged that even the people that are kind of probably pretty right-leaning are from Utah are just kind of like, this is...
And they probably at one point supported Trump.
Oh, there's, you know how many people have supported Trump that...
They're
and like I said, 74 million people voted for him.
Right.
And this group of people that attacked the Capitol was not 74 million.
No, I don't. It
might have been more that came to his inauguration.
Yeah, I actually haven't heard a count.
I don't either.
Of the crowd at the
I think
initial.
It was like 30 or 40,000.
Yeah.
I might have heard that, but okay. I guess we should take a break. When we come back, we do have some Randy headlines.
They're sexual.
That's for you,
why.
Randy.
Or that one. Or that Randy.
I had a DoorDash driver the other day, and his first name was Randy, and it gave me his initial, and I thought it was our Randy. I was like, this is gonna be Randy in his electric truck. It wasn't though.
No.
Some other guy. Anyway. When we come back, random headlines. Who the hell Googled this? Israeli Defense Secretary, Forbes, Universal Constants. There's just...
Whatever else this simulation will bring.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Which is fine. We've been slacking. And more A10 bullet.
Yeah.
Right here in my hand. When we come back.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you these random headlines.
Thanks. That got loud there at the end, man. You don't have your headphones on. Well, we're back, everybody. Hey, find us at the Arctic Pod on TikTok. Really, that's the only one that matters now.
Yeah, man. Because of our 810 stuff, we got viewers.
Well, we put up. It's just a great social media platform, and really, you should download it and just follow us.
And you should be careful because you can end up watching a lot of it.
Yeah.
In fact, that was one thing I wanted to go over this week. The thing on your phone that tells you your usage time.
Oh, yeah, the thing that makes you feel like shit every week.
I think we should go over that. I spend a lot of time on Facebook, and
I still don't have it on my phone.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I can't put it back because it's too. That's the one for me. That's like the heroin for me. It's Facebook.
Facebook's my heroin. I mean, okay.
More like maybe it's an upper.
But there's
I get pissed.
there's worse things to be addicted to. Not heroin, Facebook.
Right.
There's worse things than Facebook to be addicted to.
That's true.
But I
get more out of TikTok. I get more laughs out of it. Get more information,
So, like, last week I spent 4 hours on Facebook. No, 5 hours. And the week before was 5 hours.
5 hours total?
So that's basically...
Not 5 hours per day?
No, there's a 6 hour. So what that tells me is I'm pooping around 6 hours a week.
Right. Right. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody knows that if you post, people are seeing it.
I had a friend Snapchat me on the toilet, and I'm like, no.
No, dude. Snapchat. That's one I never got into.
It wasn't a dude. That was the weirdest thing.
Oh. This just doesn't compute at all. I don't really.
This is making me a little
randy.
All right. So speaking of Randy, a wealthy Indonesian man shared photos from a plane where he and his wife were the sole passengers on this plane. Now, you might think to yourself, well, it's COVID, air travel's down. Maybe they just they were the only two on this flight. It's happened a lot.
Yeah.
Did I tell you on my way home from Denver? I probably did. The pilot asked, he was like, thanks for flying Delta and bring a friend next time, because the plane was so empty. That was pretty funny. But no, this man bought out every seat on this plane.
Oh, wow.
To avoid COVID exposure.
I'm surprised they let him do that.
I don't know.
I guess it doesn't matter to them, huh? It doesn't really matter
from
to the
a
airline.
customer. This isn't a U.S.-based airline. I can't imagine that a U.S.-based airline would. I don't know why it just repeated. Oh, I accidentally hit the repeat button.
Yeah, because of customer service.
Right.
They'd be like, no.
I'm sorry. Someone is. I mean, at the same time, though, if you're gonna.
What if they were on they were like the C group to board? Group A, or diamond class.
I hope they at least sat first class on this flight. They bought the whole plane, but they're sitting in the back. We just like it back here.
Yeah, more comfy.
So yeah, this guy, I guess, is famous for his extravagant lifestyle. Richard Muljadi.
Obviously not rich enough to have his own plane.
See, that's what I was like.
There's a threshold.
Like at what? Yeah, but
there's a threshold.
How much? This is a lot. It couldn't have possibly been that much more
to rent a
plane.
To rent a private plane.
I mean, this is it looks like it's a 737.
That's a lot of seats.
So it's at least 150. No, he did 12 business class seats and 150 economy seats.
That's a lot. But maybe
was there no private plane out of there?
That makes more sense. Or he just did it for the show. He did it just for the headline. You know what I mean?
I guess. Stupid, though.
It is
I'd
weird.
much rather fly in a private plane than...
Right. Maybe he just hasn't quite...
Oh, wait, no, it says right here. He does not disclose how much he paid to keep the flight private, but he wrote the amount was still cheaper than chartering a private plane.
There you go. I wonder if you call, in other countries, if you call the airline and you're like, can you give me a discount if I buy out the whole plane? You know?
Come again?
You get 2 cents or 2 seats for free if you buy.
I wouldn't trust these pilots to fly me. I think that this might be the same airline that just crashed yesterday.
I was just gonna tell you, Indonesian jetliner disappears. They found clothes and like body parts. It's awful.
I'm glad it's not a 737 Max.
Oh man, can you imagine?
I'm sure that when Boeing got the news, they were like, "It's a 737."
Right.
500. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Did it crash in the ocean, or is this just a different image I'm seeing?
It's a different one, but I do think it crashed in the ocean.
That's crazy. It's so sad.
Just think this guy. I wish it would have been this plane, so it was just these people instead of 70 or whatever was on that one. I don't know, man. They have the worst air traffic control, and their safety record is just they're not good pilots.
Was it a Max was it from Indonesia?
Yeah, one of them.
One of them was from Indonesia. Yeah, for the Max that crashed.
Yeah,
because you couldn't turn off the.
Well, and that's why a lot of people were pointing to pilot error, and that's a whole nother thing we could talk about another day. But
he could have turned it off. We've talked about it. Yeah.
Boeing definitely has some blame, but it's mostly that they should have not made, because when you're type rated on an airplane, you could typically fly all the different types. So there's like at SkyWest we have the CRJ 200, 700 and 900. They're all a little bit bigger.
So if you're CRJ
If you're type rated for the CRJ,
you can fly any.
You can fly all 3 of those.
All right.
Now they introduced the Max with way bigger engines and this new system, and they said you're type rated. You don't need to, so there wasn't additional training. So these people thought they were flying this regular 737, and they weren't. They probably should have not done that.
Right.
But anyway,
should be able to hack it, but no. All right.
Police find a severed foot, reported severed foot, and judging by this picture, it looks like a severed foot. So this is in Canada. Police officer, a Canadian police officer,
is it this one right here?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put it up.
Witness report of a severed foot at the side of the road made a considerably less alarming discovery. A discarded mannequin foot. Mannequin.
I like mannequin better.
Mannequin.
Yeah.
The Delta Police Department in British Columbia said an officer on foot in Lander was stopped by a passing driver.
Come on.
Yeah, that wasn't really necessary. That was, come on, Canada.
That was a cheap shot.
Yeah. The driver appears quite distraught and states that there is a severed foot roadside by the pump house.
You know how excited this cop got?
Oh, he's like, severed foot. Get it on the case, baby. Question. If you saw a severed foot, if you saw this, would your mind first go to, oh, that's a severed foot? Or would it go like, that's a mannequin's foot? Or that's a fake foot? Or, granted.
It depends on the context.
Granted,
on the side of the road, I would probably go to severed foot.
Granted, it does look.
It does look.
It
like
looks pretty realistic.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's on purpose or just because it's dirty.
Yeah, because it looks beat up.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that severing seems a bit.
It's very clean.
Very clean
it's
cut
like
there.
It's a bandsaw.
Yeah.
There's no blood. But I would probably lean towards severed foot.
Would you call the cops or would you just take it?
I'd probably just take it.
What are you gonna do with it?
That's none of your business. I would take it and just throw it at a cop car.
Look what I found. I found me a foot. Just in case you need that, dreaded foot transplant.
If you were driving and a severed foot hit your windshield, would you assume that it was a real foot or a mannequin foot?
Well, it depends if there was a mannequin truck in front of me.
Man.
Was that a foot?
That'd be scary as hell, man. Just a foot. Yeah.
Oh, so more bad news. We thought that 2020 was the worst year. By the way, my receipt total today at what's it called?
Smith and Edwards.
I keep wanting to say Smith and Wesson.
Was it 1776?
No, it was 2020. And I was like, whoa, can we knock that down to 666? I can deal with the devil, but I can't go through 2020 again.
Right. Buy a penny candy.
Yeah. So the organizers of the No Pants subway ride in Berlin.
Oh, man, what is it with Berlin?
I know. An annual January event held on public transport in more than a dozen cities worldwide. Now, this is just a picture from Berlin.
Okay.
Announced the 2021 event has been canceled.
I got some COVID, I guess.
Ooh, I want to go to this.
Let's go to Berlin.
It
How
says
it's
all
women?
worldwide. It happens in New. What?
Oh no, there's a dude. Okay.
Because those are the only pictures you really.
Yeah. No pants subway ride.
Huh.
You're gonna want to go to TikTok for this one.
Yeah, I wonder how many people get like tapeworms. Something just crawled up my butt.
HPV. Free ride.
I mean, it's public transport, man. It's like the dirty of the dirty.
It's true.
I mean, I don't know. I
no
think,
pants movie
I think
night.
you should wear double pants and plastic wrap.
Yeah.
But yeah, another big event bites the dust.
Canceled.
I really hope my Japanese phallus festival in April.
I don't see it happening.
I don't either. I don't want to wait another year.
Let's book it. Let's say 2022. We got it. We're there. We'll be on episode.
For those of you wondering, just look up the Japanese phallus festival. It's a quite a charming story, actually.
Yeah, it's very charming.
It involves. Let me just say that it involves a phallus, phalluses,
phalli,
a vagina, and a monster, and a steel metal phallus.
Right. And it's in Japan.
And it's in Japan.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
Obviously.
I mean, it wouldn't be anywhere else. Definitely wouldn't happen in Berlin.
It definitely wouldn't. All right. Moving right along. I still, I haven't got any music for this segment yet. That's
what is.
We didn't even talk about what we were going to Google.
Oh yeah, is that what we're doing right now?
That's what's next on the rundown.
Well, there you go.
Oh,
I didn't know you were done
Sorry.
with random headlines.
I gave you the done with random headlines look. Not joking.
This segment is called "Who the hell Googled that?" And I haven't thought of any that we should search today.
Well, Jonathan1279 from Facebook sent us this. How many inches?
How many inches?
Oh, that's stupid.
In a yard, in a foot, in 5 feet, in 30 centimeters, in a mile, in a
Nothing good
meter,
there
in
at all.
6 feet. Yeah, that's dumb. Sorry.
Type in butt probe.
Just butt probe?
Yeah. Oh, man.
No predictions. How about do aliens have belly buttons?
There we go.
Yes.
Do aliens pay taxes?
Do aliens exist in X-Files?
Do aliens exist? So someone typed in, do aliens exist?
Right.
And then they didn't get what they wanted, or they were skeptical, so
Right.
they were like, well, do aliens really exist?
And then they went one step further. Do aliens exist? NASA.
Yeah. they wanted scientists to weigh in on this.
Right. Yeah.
Do aliens have belly buttons? Like,
I mean, if they're mammals, I suppose.
I don't know, man. That's Anything? You think of anything else? We should have. You know what? We should have planned that. I didn't even think to plan it. I really wish people would message us or TikTok us or whatever.
How about this one? What does it mean?
What does it mean when?
What does it mean is what I Google. What does it mean when you dream about someone?
When your poop is green.
What does it mean to pack the court? What does it mean?
It's similar to when your poop is green.
What does it mean to gaslight someone? That's fitting. What does it mean when a cat purrs? Come on.
Well, when you gaslight someone, that's when they get green poop.
And that's when your cat purs.
Yes. The cat will often purr when you have green poops.
Right.
That's a known fact.
Well, this has been Who the hell Googled that?
No, Google how long was Hitler's?
How long was Hitler's
reign?
Mustache.
Mustache. Good. I'm glad we got something out of that. Wait, actually, let's look at the results of that.
Which one?
The mustache.
Okay. How long was Hitler's mustache?
Is there a definitive answer?
It's called a toothbrush mustache.
Oh. You know, Charlie Chaplin did it first, didn't he?
He did. Yep. 1/3 and what? Philtrum?
You're only reading part of the
No,
article.
look. It says 1/3 and Philtrum. That's not a ... right there.
What the hell is a philtrum?
Let's look. Philtrum, the vertical groove between the base of the nose and the border of the upper lip.
Whoa.
Right there.
Well, darn it. I just learned something.
That's why we do this segment.
Oh, philtrum surgery. Philtrum mustache trim. Jewelry? Ooh, do philtrum too long.
Philtrum too long.
Oh, it's true.
That's true. It's way too long.
I mean, I'd still, make whoopee with that person, but...
Can you shorten your philtrum? What does a long philtrum mean? I was hoping it had like a
zodiac.
Yeah.
When Jupiter's rising and your philtrum is long, you're destined to find love.
Is the philtrum attractive? Well, that's very subjective. What do you think, Spencer? Do you find a philtrum attractive?
That's actually one thing I haven't really thought about.
Do you like a short philtrum or a long philtrum? Or a wide philtrum or a thin philtrum? What if we're saying it wrong this whole time?
Well, how else would you say that?
Pahiltrum.
Philtrum?
Pahiltrum.
Philtrum. Mustache. See, this is good. So we Google it and then we just follow Google's down a Google rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Well, can we get a philtrum comparison? Because I don't know what I'm attracted to.
There we go. Philtrum comparison.
Oh wow, those people are all ugly. I mean,
so obviously there's at least 4 variables we have. There's also the pokey outiness, right? Like how far does it come out? which is kind of when someone gets lip fillers. That's kind of what it looks like.
And like, if it actually is visible or not. Like, some people's are just kind of flat.
Right. So that's the question. Oh, this is a whole.
Wow, this is way too much information on this. There's diagrams.
Yeah, this is an abstract.
When you take the nasal base and the length of and that's how we know your penis size.
I'm going to say that to someone. Like, I really like your philtrum. You have a really long philtrum.
That's going to be my my next time I talk to someone on Bumble or something. Like, that philtrum.
Is it as long as it is in your profile picture?
You must have photoshopped that filter because, frankly, it is outstanding.
It's outstanding. Sir.
Outstanding.
Oh man.
Well, we learned a new word.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about vaccines.
Yeah. What do you think should be the punishment for destroying vaccines?
Gaddafi'd
immediately. With no possibility of parole.
I want everyone to know what a Gaddafi.
Oh man, do you? It's pretty awful.
Yeah, but
it's awful.
I mean, maybe just Google it then. I'm not going to tell you.
I'm not Googling that.
Okay, well, Google, what's his first name?
Muammar.
Stupid name.
I don't know how to
Muammar al-Gaddafi, and just read about how he died.
Yeah, he...
and know he had it coming.
Yeah, he did. It was pretty awful, though.
He had it coming.
Yeah. Anyway.
It involves sodomy.
Yeah, in Wisconsin.
Sodomy in Wisconsin is, yeah.
In Wisconsin.
Personally, when I go to Wisconsin, that is one thing I like to partake in.
Right. I think it was Wisconsin. There's two. A nurse at a hospital purposefully left out the vaccine so that it would go bad. And a pharmacist in another state threw them out. Both of them have been arrested for throwing away or
Why
destroying.
would they do that? Was it protest? Seriously?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. What do you think?
I just told you. Gaddafi them.
It's so strange to me that a pharmacist would destroy vaccines.
No, I do think he should lose his license.
Yeah.
And not be allowed to practice pharmacy anymore.
I mean, there's not much more to say about it. That's pretty much it. I
hadn't heard about that.
I find it fascinating that people have stooped to that level of...
You said a nurse did this?
Yeah, a nurse did it.
I don't understand because, there's so many videos and commercials and stories about nurses and how they're just out of gas and tired and want the vaccine. And so what did she accomplish by ruining? At least it was just one, I guess.
No, it was a batch.
Oh.
Because one vial...
Double Gaddafi her.
One vial... it might depend on vaccine, but one vial has like 100 doses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so they have to... That's one of the
You're telling me Ethan can't snag one vial?
Come on, man. That's one of the logistical problems of the vaccine because it has to be kept cool for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And so they have to get people like in a line.
Not until when we get the Johnson & Johnson one.
Right, the J&J.
J&J and the other AstraZeneca?
Yeah.
They don't need to be kept cold.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, not as cold.
Right.
Speaking of cold, you know where it's really cold?
Israel.
No.
Oh.
Not at all. Actually,
it's very nice. It's very pleasant.
I think it's kind of hot. Now, this story's pretty old, so maybe you've heard about it.
Okay.
Former Israeli space security chief. Actually, I think he was just the security chief. I don't know that they have space security.
They have a space security chief?
Former Israeli security chief says extraterrestrials exist and Trump knows about it.
How would he know if... Listen, I understand that you might know, but how would you know that Trump knows?
Well, because he says there is a galactic federation.
A GF?
Yes, and it has been waiting for humans to reach a stage where we will understand what space and spaceships are.
What do you mean we don't understand what spaceships are?
Have you never watched Star Trek or Star Wars?
So they mean like we need the technology to make it work.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe it didn't translate right. A former Israeli space security chief has sent eyebrow shooting heavenward. Come on, people. by saying that Earthlings have been in contact with extraterrestrials from the Galactic Federation. The unidentified flying objects have asked not to publish that they are here. Humanity is not ready.
Wait a second. Okay, so they're saying, when you said Galactic Federation, I thought you meant on Earth.
No.
They're saying there's like a Galactic Senate.
Yeah, like Star Trek.
Yeah.
Or Wars.
Or Wars.
There's a Federation.
There's a Federation.
The Federation.
And they came to Earth and said, you guys, we'll tell one of you. Who's your leader?
No.
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 The Israeli chief.
No. That's not what he says.
Okay.
He says that the world leaders are in contact with them.
Right.
Like Trump. Trump knows, and he said that Trump came really close to telling him everybody, but the aliens told him not to. Because that stopped him before.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I'm reading here. There's an agreement between U.S. government and the aliens. They signed a contract with us to do experiments here.
Like, hopefully anal probing.
Right. Gaddafiing. They've been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we
And then they saw what happened Wednesday, and they left. They were like, know, we're going to leave.
For real. I mean, I do think that if there's intelligent life that is past us, right? Obviously there has to be. They probably do look at us and be like, wait, are you guys still in the fighting each other phase?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are still killing your own species?
Right.
That's weird, man. Like,
so I don't know. I don't know what reason this guy has to lie or if he's just delusional. So I don't know. Maybe he's right. Who knows?
You know what? This is NBC News.
I know. This was actually on every news outlet. I'm surprised you didn't see it. I watched a History Channel, 3-part documentary on Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of convincing stuff about Roswell.
Right.
A lot.
I mean, I believe Tom DeLonge, I think, sure.
I wish it wasn't the crazy member of Blink-182. If it was Mark Hoppus, I'd be way more on board.
Mark Hoppus doesn't have a care in the world.
Well, Travis Barker then. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this got me thinking, again, kind of kept me up the other night about aliens, like I do. Because, I'm really bummed out that we're not traveling the galaxy right now.
I feel like they might be controlling the simulation.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Are you even real?
I don't know. you don't know if you're,
And I was thinking, so I started thinking about aliens, and what do you think? There are probably universal constants.
Okay. Like gravity.
Yes.
Okay.
But what I more mean is love. And
social constructs.
Yes.
Okay.
And I just wonder if what you think might be a universal constant. Do you think that love would be a universal constant?
If the species is as advanced as we are, at least, then yes.
Now, the way I go about looking at this is I think about other animals here on Earth.
Right, like sentient, conscious.
Right. And to me, there's not universal love, but there is definitely among other species. You can see it in almost
whales, dolphins,
almost
monkeys.
Every avenue of the animal kingdom. Right. Minus, you don't see it a lot with reptiles, and you don't see it a lot with insects.
Right.
You do occasionally, though, like spiders. Some spiders do.
They're not insects, but yeah.
Okay, you're right. My bad. Arachnids.
Yeah.
Octopuses.
Octopi.
So, I don't know if it would be a universal constant, though. So, I mean, what if...
There's no reason to suggest that love was a result of earthly evolution.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
I think any evolution on any earth, or world, I should say, would include love. I don't see that as an earthly thing.
What if let's say the asteroid didn't hit and the dinosaurs continued to evolve, and there was, one right in that middle group that was not a prey and not a predator, that managed to evolve all the way up to sentience. Do you think that they would evolve love? Is it
No, yes. I think that love is evolutionary.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that because because you could water it down and say that the reason that humans have evolved so far is for their capacity to be friends
and have compassion.
Yeah, so which is love, right? So yes, and then of course an offshoot of that is romantic love.
Right, and that's more what I'm talking about. Is not romantic. I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah.
Just compassion and
because if Darwin was right, then there's no reason to think that's only an earthbound concept.
Right.
Right? Like that's if a species has time enough to evolve and to perpetuate itself, then they're going to eventually find a way to work together, which in essence is love.
But then what about something like violence? Do you think that's a
yes,
or hate or
because I do believe in dichotomies, right? So I think where there is love, there's going to be hate.
And greed, or is that just another aspect of hate?
I think it's both. I think it's an aspect of loving yourself too much. You love yourself more than other people.
Right.
Or you hate yourself. One of the, because loving yourself is important.
I'm really selfish, but it's not why. It's not for the reasons you think.
Yeah, no, I think greed is probably a constant, but I will say that I do think that greed can be. I think that a group could evolve out of greed.
Well, let's hope that happens with us eventually.
because greed is definitely evolved into, right? There are species that aren't.
I think greed might be more dangerous than hate.
Yeah, there are species that aren't greedy.
Mm-hmm.
That everything is for the group, and
that's true.
They share, they teach. So,
not humans though.
No.
What else could be a universal constant or not? What other things do we do?
Well, sex.
Maybe, but maybe not because.
Does it have to be pleasurable? Right. That was something that we evolved.
Well,
to make the species continue.
Yeah, because there's no way that that we would.
It's a weird thing to do, but there are some. I don't think there's only like 2 other species on Earth that have sex for fun. It's not that many, at least.
You're right. You're right. It's dolphins and
I think chimps. I think chimps too.
Maybe
they've actually observed oral sex among chimps. Yeah,
I've
like
seen
orangutans.
My dogs. The dogs do that. I don't. But the thing is, though, I have birds that whack off.
Right.
So
they're evolving because it feels good.
Right.
Because if it doesn't feel good, you won't do it, which means you won't properly.
So it has to.
Yeah, it might be a constant.
It has to. But there are animals that produce asexually. Aren't
That's
there?
right. So it could very well be possible that there is a world with species that only reproduce asexually.
But in order to produce asexually, you would have to have evolved a very strong sense or urge of needing to continue on the species.
Right.
Because without the sex, without the drive that we have, then we wouldn't continue.
Right. I'd have to look into how asexuality works. How that's
right.
How we think that that's adapted.
Right.
Because life
finds a way. I don't know, man. It just still drives me nuts that there's this whole universe out there. You look up at the stars, and it's what's most annoying is that you can look. You can take a globe, you can take a map, and you can look anywhere in the world, and you could go there.
Yeah.
One way or the other. I'm not saying that, financially, whatever.
Right.
But you could.
You could.
You could even potentially go to the moon.
Right. I plan on it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had enough money or if you, whatever, you could go to the moon.
That is my biggest bucket list.
Moon?
I would rather go to the moon than Mars.
Well, fair enough.
I'm fascinated by the moon. I love it.
The moon is interesting.
I love it.
According to, some people, there's an alien base on the other side.
I love that it's like dusty,
Moon.
There's just something about it, man. It almost makes me cry. It almost makes me misty. I love the moon.
Huh. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I fucking love
Mars has 2 moons, though. Did you think about that?
Speaking of moons and all of this,
yeah,
FM radio waves from a moon of, was it Jupiter or Saturn?
Oh, I haven't heard about that.
That one, and then from our nearest star besides
I heard
the
about
sun.
that.
What is that star called?
I can't remember.
Our shit. Anyway, yeah, we've had 2 radio frequency pickups now.
There's some pretty
shit happening.
Big moons around Jupiter that are planet-sized.
Right.
And
so we've received FM.
And some of them have water.
We've received FM radio waves from a moon of, I believe it's Jupiter, which is an anomaly.
Right.
And then we've also received, not necessarily FM, but a weird pattern of radio contact from our nearest star besides the sun. I can't remember the freaking name.
It's just annoying because we can't, even if we sent the signals, it would take so long to get there.
It takes 4 years.
It's frustrating to me that I can't go there. You see a star, and you can't go there.
Alpha Centauri, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.3 light years we've received.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, we've received radio waves from them. And what SETI does, you know SETI? They aim their dishes around that area, like close to it, to see if they're getting those same waves from anything else. And they didn't. They only got it from this one spot.
Ganymede.
So it suggests that...
Ganymede's moon, FM radio signals.
Yeah.
Do you think... You know what probably happened? Elon Musk Tesla fell apart.
Fuck. Totally what happened.
And his FM radio was on. And
yep, it's totally what happened.
All right.
You know what I didn't say earlier?
Huh?
I just remembered this. It's totally off topic. Rush Limbaugh canceled his Twitter account.
He canceled it?
Yeah.
He was inciting more... Yeah. He was egging the people on, telling them they should have gone further.
Right. In protest of Trump being deleted.
He needs to go.
He does.
He has cancer. Like it's time, man.
Yeah.
He's either lost his mind or he's always been this crazy.
Right.
But he's not a good dude, man.
One last story I want to share with you.
Okay.
This is from Forbes, and not just a Forbes like staff writer. Randall Lane, chief content officer and editor for Forbes. Okay.
Okay.
He's had it with these people, these liars for the commander-in-chief. McEnany.
I hate her.
Huckabee Sanders, Spicer, Kellyanne Conway, and I can't remember this chick's name. She was the press secretary who never gave a single press briefing.
Well, didn't she just quit? She transitioned to Melania's.
And then she quit?
I think she just resigned. She just resigned.
Yeah. I can't remember her name here. Stephanie Grisham. Anyway, so he's writing this article about how awful they are for lying. Okay? And here's what he has to say about it. Let it be known to the business world. Hire any of Trump's fellow fabulists above, those people.
Right.
And Forbes will assume that everything your company or firm talks about is a lie. We're going to scrutinize, double-check, investigate with the same skepticism we'd approach a Trump tweet. Want to ensure the world's biggest business media brand approaches you as a potential funnel of disinformation? Then hire away.
Right?
This is amazing.
They're only going to be able to get hired by Fox News.
Right. And he goes on to say, this isn't cancel culture, which is a social blight. There's surely a nice living for each of these press secretaries on the true believers circuit, nor is this politically motivated, as Forbes' pro-entrepreneur, pro-growth worldview has generally placed it in the right of center camp over the past century. This standard needs to apply to liars from either party. So this is the editor of Forbes saying, if you hire any of Trump's press secretaries, then your company is going to be shat on by Forbes.
We're not going to put you in our list.
I freaking love this.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
I mean, how far do you think that we should take these people down? I mean, it's not like every staffer at the White House.
No, I don't think so. Because I honestly believe that there are some staffers there who stayed because of Trump in terms of like trying to preserve the union.
Yeah.
You know? And I respect them for that because I actually have a big problem with Republicans who resign in protest of Trump.
It is kind of cowardly,
So you're giving away all of your power that you have, even if it's small, in protest. I started feeling that way when Jeff Flake resigned. It's like, no, Jeff, like...
Isn't he a Democrat now?
I don't know. But we need you to stay in and actually use the power that you wield, you know? Like,
right.
Anyway.
I do kind of have a prediction that I might want to put on the prediction list.
Yes.
The Republican Party, hopefully, they're going to reorganize.
They're going to have to rebrand.
And I think what might happen is the party will split. And by that I mean there'll be a new party, like the Tea Party or the Freedom, whatever they want. I don't know, whatever they want to call it.
I actually would love to have 3 parties.
Well, no, of course.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole different topic.
Right.
But reason I'm saying that is hopefully that party will kind of go into obscurity. Like all the other third parties.
They'll splinter first, and then the Republican Trump Party will go away.
Which it would not shock me if it was called the Trump Party.
No, not at all.
I mean, that would make perfect sense.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at all. They already call it that. Matt Gaetz gave a speech at, where was that shit? Like CPAC or something, where he said, I'm a Trump Republican. I am no longer a Republican of the a Mitt Romney loser with manners or something like that.
Right.
He went on, something along those lines. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not a Bush. I'm not a Cheney. I am a Trump Republican.
I do love how all the presidents came out and were like, this is, even, Bush is like.
And every Secretary of Defense that's alive.
Awesome.
Jeez. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's over.
Maybe he'll get impeached. Maybe it'll just end. I don't know.
Well, he's definitely going to get impeached, whether or not the Senate convicts.
When do the 2 new people get sworn in?
The 20th. So
they have to wait that long too?
Yeah. So that's my understanding anyway. So they'll impeach on Wednesday. The articles will be introduced on Monday. And then they'll set up a timeline for the Senate trial, which it's not about removal for me.
It's about making sure he doesn't run and sending a message.
It's about sending a message and making sure that he can never run for office again. That's it. So, and I was reading a little bit about it, so I'll have to go look at the Constitution. But my understanding is to remove him from office, you need a 2/3 majority in the Senate.
Right.
But to prevent him from holding office again is just a simple majority.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll have to double check that.
But how much is a simple majority?
51.
Just 51, but we wouldn't have that wouldn't be.
I think we'd be close even without those 2.
Really?
Yeah, because you have people like Mitt Romney and
you'd everyone but Ted.
Basically.
The Alaska senator. I can't remember.
Murkowski, Susan Collins.
What is up with the Senate versus the House? Like, the House is dumb.
Well, the House has always been known as the lower.
Yeah, I know.
The lower chamber.
They just.
It's definitely easier to win a House seat than a Senate seat.
Yeah. Well, and they do get 6 years versus 2.
Right. So there's a lot more power in the Senate for sure.
All right. Well, we better go.
Yeah.
It's probably like midnight.
Thanks for being here, everybody. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Tell your friends, please. Follow us on TikTok at the Arctic Pod, or go to thearcticpodcast.com, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
For episode 104, I'm Brian.
I'm Spencer. We'll see you next time.